Bill, how much money did they take from you?
Well, initially it was $8,150, so $8,150, and I did recover $350 because I had used a credit card for that.
So about $8,000.
$7,800.
Take from you, man.
Yep.
Okay. I'm Joe Ducey with Michelle Marin of the Better Business Bureau. This is Scammed, stories of scam survivors warning you about how to avoid what happened to them. Today we're talking with Bill. Bill, tell us a little bit about how this started. What were you looking for?
So a few months ago, I got in the market for a storage container for some property that I built. So I went online and started shopping containers. And so I came across several different companies that sell them, all had different kind of profiles. At the same time, I also started reading reviews of their scams and what they are out there and whatnot. So I had a little bit of knowledge kind of going at these different websites.
So you were thinking about protecting yourself from the beginning.
Yes, absolutely, because it's a shady kind of business. Just in general, I hate to say that, but in this case, it's a container business closely linked with trucking and moving and scrapping and
problematic industries.
Yeah, just where you've already seen a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, when it started, it's like really we get a lot of online shopping scams. Some are legitimate seeming businesses that don't come through. Others are just out and out scams. Sure. So they're kind of similar in a way. I mean, this was a container, could be something else.
Yes, absolutely.
But what did you do here? So you contacted them, and how did it go?
So the first company I contacted, I did some investigate. I thought I wanted their product, actually, and I was getting ready to purchase that product. And I investigated their address, and I started to see who owned the business and that, and a lot of red flags flew up. So and there's their website as well. So you can go online. Or I went online, and you can find scam websites and whatnot. There's several different websites out there that will show you who owns it, if there's reports of it being a scam website and whatnot. And this company, the first company, had only been in business a little while. The website wasn't registered for very long. And so and then when they wanted payment, they wanted me to set up an account with a company I'd never heard of. It wasn't like BMO, or it wasn't like any of the ones that I'd heard from before. Yeah. So I ran away from that deal. Went to Facebook Marketplace because which
is always a good place to find legitimate good companies, right?
That's a whole nother story. But Facebook Marketplace is just ripe with fraud. So you have to be really careful there. So found a company there. It's local to me here in Arizona. Decided I wanted to be able to go physically see the container. So I might mention with the previous that they had sent me a picture of the container that I was actually going to be receiving. Mm-hmm. And it turned out if you use the Google Images and you go and do a search and you find that on 20 different websites, you're pretty sure that that's not the container.
And you could tell that was the container that they were showing you.
It's the same image.
It's the exact same image. Wow. It's a great tool for this kind of thing. And it's same with the Facebook Marketplace person. You can take their face, and if you see their face pop up on the internet as a file image that you can just paste into your website or and pretend it's you.
That's
kind of
smart.
a thing. So that's a great tool for these containers. Try to get a picture of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I found this company
too, because it's not the same puppy 500 times. You know.
Yeah,
It's so easy.
It's easy.
In 5 seconds, I could see that this container was all over the internet being sold or attempted to be sold.
So you got out from that company. You went with this guy you found on Facebook Marketplace.
That's right.
And then what did they talk to you about in terms of payment, and how did that work?
So they agreed to meet me at their facility. So I physically drove out, saw their facility where they do customization. One of the reasons my container was so expensive is because I was going to have it modified. So it was going to be painted, and they were going to add a roll-up door to that, which is pretty common with these 40-foot containers. Everything went well. They gave me pricing. I went home that day, was contacted by them to make payment. The payment, I had options to pay through credit card if I'd like, or in this case, they wanted it was going to be 3.5% additional to pay by credit card. So that was about $300, and I liked these people. They were all very nice and friendly. I said, you know what, I don't want to pay an extra $300. So I did a bank wire transfer to them, and I think that's where my problems began. So I paid through wire. painting was $350, and I paid through credit card. They gave me a date a couple of weeks out for the modifications and whatnot for the container to be delivered. It included delivery to my address. 2 weeks passed, never heard from them. Went back to the facility, said, "Hey, how come I haven't heard from you? Give me a new, you want to give me a new shipping date or not?" And they said, we're back ordered on the roll-up doors.
Okay. Now, they didn't tell you this in advance. They told
No.
you this now.
Yes.
How much did they have from you at that point?
All of it.
All of it, $8,000.
That's right.
Okay.
$81.50.
Okay. What are you thinking?
That there's a problem here. They did not feel good in their office. There was almost no furniture in their office. People were looking at me just kind of strange. And then I found my actual order up on a pinup board with 2 other orders. And so the ops manager went up and said, "Oh, is this you here?" "Yeah, we're back ordered on these roll-up doors or whatever for that one." I said, "Well, give me a new date." Right. So they gave me a date 2 weeks out. I left, never heard from them again. Tried to call them, contact them. I called the owner. Owner picks up his cell phone and said, "Let me get back to the office. I'll call you back." Never heard back from him on that.
So how many months later is it since you first
we're
paid?
about 3.5 months now, 4 months later.
Do you think you're
I have
going to get
nothing.
this?
I have nothing.
Yeah. And they've given you no answers.
No, they will not respond to text, voicemail, anything. So
And they have all your money.
they have my money.
What does that do to you how much is $8,000 to you?
Well, I'm retired, so, and my wife, she works, from home. We don't have a lot of money, like I say, but we're building on our retirement home on some property that we own, so it's kind of a big hit. But
And what does it mean, like, just for people to know about personally? What's it just when you?
I feel like a fool. I mean, from a personal standpoint, I feel like a fool, even though I think I'm pretty good at finding these scams. I mean, I know how to use the internet, at least, and a lot of the tools out there. But if somebody wants to deceive me and they're going to look at you straight in the eye and just say, you physically, they're going to deliver something and you give them the money, what are you going to do? I mean, I don't know. I trust you to do what you said you did.
You did your research too.
Right.
I mean, gosh, you even walked away from something because you realized that it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
So,
and these people have been in business. Their website's been around for over 6 years. So they've been around. Their reviews are very good, actually. But apparently, if you pay them cash, it changes everything for them. I just can guess. They have not told me. I haven't spoken to them. But it seems to change everything once they have your money.
So you've talked about some things that you would do differently. And I think credit card was probably the biggest.
I think so, because the bank was ready to give me credit for that had I used a credit card, but I didn't use a credit card for the entire transaction. And at that point, the bank has no recourse. They won't contact the other customer, the seller's bank. They won't do that. It's against protocol for banks to do that, apparently. So
you went through. How did you pay for it again? You went through.
It's automatic, like an ACH kind of a thing.
From your bank?
Yes, from my bank to their bank.
And what does your bank say when you go to them?
They said there's nothing we can do. If there's no recourse there through the banks. So my next step would actually have to be legal, right? So
okay. And what do you think about that? That you were at your bank, it came out of your bank, that there's no recourse for them. I mean, do you say that's just the way it is?
No,
the bank should be doing more. It was my fault. What are your kind of?
We'd had I got a great rep, I thought, from in this case it was BBB, right? So I had a great rep on the phone, talked to them at length or whatever. They did everything I thought they could. I was probably a half hour, 20 minutes on the phone with them. Yeah. But in the end, there's nothing they can do. I asked if they
once the money's gone.
I said, can you send a letter even that says, hey, we have a customer that did business with one of your customers, with your customer, and they will not do that. They said it's against protocol.
Let's get into some of the things that you'd advise people to do in these situations. What are some red flags kind of along that you look back at and say, boy, I should have done this differently? Or if people are approached this way, maybe I should think
I still need a container, so I still have to probably do these things, right?
Yeah.
So I say the thing with pictures, make sure if you can get a picture of the unit they're going to actually deliver to you, because the other
or whatever the merchandise is you're ordering.
Right. It doesn't apply just to
the
containers.
puppy or the
That's right.
Anything.
If you can get a picture and then search that picture out on the web to see if it's being used by
a reverse image search.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and it's really easy to do. If you're not comfortable with computers, you can still do this, right?
Yeah.
Never pay cash up front if there's any way possible not to pay cash up front. In my case, they were modifying the container, which meant that I understood so you're going to cut this container. You need my money because you're going to have something you can't resell necessarily. So I was willing to do that. But if there's a way to pay cash on delivery, and there's many of these companies that will do that for the containers, it's cash on delivery. You get to see the container. That's great. I would say definitely try to push for that.
Okay.
Save all your conversations, your emails. Once you start talking to an attorney, they're going to want records. So you need your receipts. You need to get a date on your receipt to make sure that their delivery date is in writing.
And you tried to go to an attorney. And was it going to cost too much? Were they interested? I mean, it's $8,000. You think it's a lot, but
it's $300 to talk to pretty much any attorney for the first hour, and then after that, they'll send a letter to the business that you're claiming fraud with, and that letter will cost you between $1,000 and $2,000 for that letter, and then you take it to court from there, and then
so you'd have $10,000 into it and may not get it back. Is
and
what you're
still
thinking.
not even have a guarantee that you're going to.
This is the problem, and I just wonder if these businesses that do this are aware of that it's not going to be worth his time to go after me in court.
You're talking about in writing, and I think that's a huge piece in any type of transaction, whether it's a scam related or not. Did they give you anything in writing from that deposit or the
I have a
modifications?
receipt. It doesn't have a delivery date, but it says includes delivery.
Okay.
But I have the 2 receipts, that show exactly what it is I purchased.
So again, not a red flag right off the bat.
No. Right.
So you proceeded with it.
That's right.
And would you ask now that when you look back, would you say, okay, I need a delivery date written on that?
It wasn't that, with the attorney, it turned out the delivery date wasn't that big a deal.
Okay.
It says includes delivery on the receipt or whatever, but you definitely want to get as much as you can on a receipt, I guess would be the point there.
Okay.
And something we haven't mentioned, and it's really important for people with shopping on like Facebook Marketplace and that, but the best price is usually scam.
Too good to be true.
It is.
How good was this price?
And my price wasn't. My price is high, actually. People are going to listen to this and say $7,800. Yes, but it was for an almost new, extra height, customized, and because where I need to put my container, it has to look good. And so the ones that you normally ship and sell for half that price are 30 years out at sea. So they don't look so good a lot of times. So I paid more. Read the terms and conditions just to get a sense of the business and how they play, what they're looking for. Because had I read terms and conditions for this particular local company, I would have never done business with them.
Man, Bill, that's a lot. $8,000 is a lot of money. But I think, you know what? We really appreciate you coming in here and talking because I think that you're helping a lot of people.
Yeah, sure.
And so hopefully you're, not only that, but that hopefully you're going to be able to get some of this money back over time. Although, are you counting on that?
I'll tell you, I have filed formal complaints with you guys, the BBB, IC3, which is the FBI's Internet Crimes Division. I've also filed with the Chris Mays and the Arizona State Attorney General. So I'm hoping to hear back from you guys. Reached out, which I really appreciate, and I haven't heard back from the other agencies yet, but I'm doing that. And then reviews online. I've left some reviews online to try and warn people about this particular company.
It's interesting because it's not. I mean, it's horrible that you lost the money, but also you seem to be even you were educated actually during some of this process, but even more now.
Oh yeah.
There's some things you wouldn't do now that you did then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think you helped a lot of people. Bill, thanks for being here.
Thanks you guys.
All right. This is Joe Ducey from Michelle Marin with the Better Business Bureau, and we will see you next time.